to discuss from the entire previous classes? You didn't get the slides or notes which I shared? At least you got the slides, which I showed you on the first class. I think maybe I'll talk to the team. I had shared them the notes and the slides, so maybe I need to add one few more, but I have shared with them, so maybe they didn't send it back to you guys. So maybe I'll discuss with them regarding that. And so one more thing, that when is your lab examinations will begin? Is it from today? Okay, so how occasionally you'll be having your exams? So after today, so when is your next exam? Next lab exam, basically. Okay, so ask your friends to join. So maybe you can call them or write on a group. So after this week, from when do you have final exams, semester exams? Okay. Okay, so I got the information. So I also took the inputs last week that you'll be having all the lab exams this week, right? So I always spoke with the team. So I think even they were fine with it, so they can that we can have the classes this week. I'm not for sure. So, but for now they want me to take classes this week. So maybe I'll also have to talk about this also, this and the notes thing. So maybe based on that we can discuss. So maybe anyway, if you have any questions from the last week sessions and things, you can let me know on the chat so that we can discuss. So all the questions which were given yesterday, so everything was inside our syllabus, every program and every question which was there. So those were not much bigger of programs. So everything which is over there is under syllabus. Maybe you just need to do small modifications, or maybe you just need to think a little. So if you feel that there's some question which is out of the syllabus, please add it on the chat. We will discuss that why it is in the syllabus or why not. Yeah, so there is no question which is required iterations or if conditions. So add it on the chart that which you feel which is required iterations or something. So we can discuss about that. So there is no question which required iterations or it's required to add if conditions and things. And insert function we discussed insert function on when we are discussing about list. So that's the second thing which I discussed. After, first, I think append, then insert. Yeah, so that's the swap program which I discussed yesterday, uh, which I gave it on yesterday. So you just need to write one line. So this we already discussed in the initial class. That so if A and B are the two variables, and if you need to swap it, you just need to do it like this in Python. I think one of the member also told it. I think Sanjay or someone that we can also do it in this way. So you can do in any of the way. So even you can take one third variable and do it, or this shortest format to do it in Python. So both the thing works. So in this question, you don't need any iterations. You don't need any if conditions. Maybe you can copy that question which you feel that which is required iterations or conditions and things. Please write it on the chat. We will discuss. Okay, I'm not sharing my screen. Okay, so I was adding on the chat, but anyway, I'll share my screen. So maybe if, a equal to 1 and b equal to 15. So if you want to swap it, b comma a, that's all. So this will basically swap both the data. So this one method, and if you wanted to do in different way, you can create one more temporary variable, which that's not compulsory, but any of the method will do. So if you wanted to do it in by creating a third variable, that's also fine. You can do it, but I was expecting this one, which I already discussed, that we can swap two variables like this in just one statement. So this we discussed, I think in the second class or third class, where we are discussing about variables, that how do we handle variables or display variables and things. And maybe if someone did something with third variable, that's also completely fine. So maybe something like this is also fine, and this also fine. How do you swap two numbers without comma and temporary variable? So maybe if there are any integers which you have, you can also do it by taking the sum of it, by subtracting basically like that. So you can follow C style swapping as well, but as long as you are able to swap it, I'm pretty fine with that. Can you check my message once ago? Sorry, I didn't see it. There's a program on prime number if a number is prime or not. Um, I didn't give such program, but I don't know if someone added these kind of questions, but I didn't give any program to find prime number. So maybe I think I'll also discuss that with the team that whether they have added any things. So actually we'll get different inputs, like it's giving automatic inputs as string. Okay, so maybe the compilers are giving in that way. So maybe you need to use split operators. So I was not aware that how exactly this input styles formatting they were doing. So I didn't give prime number one, but I don't know who gave or who added prime number because that's out of completely my syllabus, which we discussed. Yeah, so you need to split it. I didn't know that they were giving everything in one string. So, but if you have data which is uh, coming as comma separated or maybe space separated, you can use split operator based on whatever it is. So if you want to, so let's suppose your input is maybe you are getting input like this. So you can split based on right now we have space. So you can split like this. But I didn't know they were giving in such manner that you need to split and do things. Usually I give it in a simpler format that input will be this and output will be this like that. They also given a direct question split operator. Okay. Maybe I think I need to discuss this with the team, but maybe apart from prime number or maybe splitting the thing which you are not convenient, there are any other. Yeah, so maybe it will difficult to uh, paste all the questions here because I cannot copy it directly properly. So maybe I'll take it from the team. So I think you cannot add pictures over here. Maybe so I'll take the questions from the team that how exactly they had given. Maybe I need to also check the formatting of this test because I was just giving the information. I didn't know that how exactly these things are coming. So I need to also take that test from my side and see if I need to give any inputs from that. So yeah, I think there won't be any multiple test cases which needs to be done. So I think there will be very few. I don't know whether. So the absolute part which you are talking about, is it for swapping numbers or which one? Okay, so I didn't know the question at all. So because I didn't give the prime program at all. So maybe I need to check what exactly they were expecting or what did they write over there. So maybe I need to see that. For all solutions has iteration, if conditions and things. But every question which I gave, so those were completely inside the syllabus. So you don't need iterations or if conditions anything. So maybe I'll take the questions from the team. So we will discuss the same thing tomorrow, that what all things are required looping or what all things were not. So maybe that would be a little convenient also for you guys to move forward. So maybe we will discuss all these things tomorrow, because the things which you are telling, and I'm not aware of those things at all. So I think we are just on a we are not on the same note. So there is some communication gap in between from me to you guys, so that I'll get the question part, and I'll also need to ask few things with the team. So based on that, we can decide later on. So for now, so we will move forward on discussing the topics. We'll discuss all regarding all the questions which you got, and how did you get all the things in tomorrow class. Maybe initially we will discuss all those things. So I think maybe most of the programs which you get, you need to use split operator. So maybe I will quickly discuss how exactly the split work, and also we'll discuss looping and if condition and everything in maybe not today's class, or maybe tomorrow's class thing. So you will cover all those things, all the basic things this week. So as you guys can see my screen. Yeah, so here if you are getting input like this, maybe 5 or 2, right now it's space separated, or maybe if you are getting comma separated and things, you can split any input which you are getting. So let's suppose input is the data which you are getting, and 5 comma 2, and you can split based on what are the parameters which you want to do. So right now I want to split based on comma. So if I'm splitting based on comma, so here you can see that I have 2 variables. So maybe if you want to use it in the way which you wanted to, so maybe you can directly print like, so maybe this is how you can access the information which is there inside any of that inputs. You can basically separate it, basically split it based on any parameter. So right now I'm splitting based on comma, because I have a comma. It'll split all the data which is there from here to here. So uh, initially it will start from 5, and it will put in one index. So maybe right now everything is string, so it will also come as a string. So it will put 5 comma 2 in the first index, and it will search for comma. So as soon as it search, this will split 2 indexes like this. So right now you have this one. So maybe if you have 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 like that. So the things which will happen behind it will be like this. So as soon as it found comma, it will split. Again, it will go and it will find 2. Right now, you have index is pointing at 2, and again it will go to comma. So as soon as it find comma, so it will split again. Not just only comma. So maybe you can do based on space also. So even if you are doing based on space, as soon as it finds some space, it will split like this. So this is how basic split operator works. So maybe after seeing the question pattern, how exactly it's happening, so I'll discuss in deep that how exactly you can take the information and split it and store in any information and things. So maybe we will quickly on the exam you are trying to do. Is it taking as a dictionary? So maybe I need to check that one also, that why is that happening. but usually it shouldn't. Uh, it's based on information how exactly you are trying to give. So maybe if you add some part of it, so how exactly you are trying to declare a set. So maybe I can see. I'll also take that exam from myself and see what kind of difficulties you guys might have faced. But all the questions which I gave from my side, everything is from the syllabus. You don't need any extra concept, even you don't need any extra information out of the syllabus. But I'll sure check from my side discussing. So as we already mentioned dictionary, so we will. That's the only part which I need to cover on data types and things. So maybe we'll quickly discuss about dictionaries as well. So dictionaries has so I think we have diluted lots of time over here. So we'll quickly move on uh, creating dictionaries, how exactly you can access dictionaries and things. So this is the data type. So dictionary is one form of data type which we use to at multiple parts of your even in any of your programming questions or any of your tests you will be using dictionary at multiple places. So this is very one useful thing which will help you to store lots of information in a structured manner. So we will discuss how exactly the format will be and how can we show information. So so I created one variable. Okay, so you are trying to declare an empty set, which is what you mean. So when you are trying to declare it as an empty set, so it was taking as a dictionary. Okay, so maybe I will also check that with the compiler which you are trying to do. So, but basically, dictionary is something same as a JSON or object which is there in other languages, maybe on Java, C, or in other languages. So we have objects or JSON formats and I think JavaScripts and things. So every dictionary will have key pair pattern, something, and key and value pair. So every information which you're trying to give, you need to give a key and you need to give a value. So we'll see an example how exactly key works and value works. So maybe on list we used to give something like this. So let's suppose I say Rahul. I don't know what Rahul is. Is it your name or first name or is your section name, college name? We don't know any other information like that. We are just giving data over here. But if you want to specify that, uh, so maybe 23 here and HYD here, and you need to mention that this one is name, this one is roll number, and this one is basically a place where your colleges are living at. So the usage of dictionary will come into place when you need to specify things under something. So let's suppose I want to declare name. So here you can declare. So here, based on the information which you see above, is that Rahul is a name and roll number is 23. So location is Hyderabad. So here I can define something like this, that every information which I need to put, I can put some name to it if I want to access it. So I, based on that name, we can access that value. So name is, but basically is key is what we usually specify as. So it's the same format everywhere you use, even on any other programming language, that you do it in a key and value format. So, and if you want to access those variables, how exactly we can access those? And is the variable which we try to declare right now. So we'll see how exactly this thing is coming. Here you can see all the information, data which we put. So we'll also see that how do we access those information. If you remember on list, if you want to access this first one, we can use 0 or 1 based on the indexes. So 0th index will return Rahul, and first index will return 23, which is roll number, and Hyderabad of 2, things like that. In the same way, dictionary has also something similar format. Instead of indexing, because we don't have any indexing values over here, instead of that, we can use what key you are trying to find. So here I'm trying to find name. So I'll put name here. You got Rahul. So when you wanted to store information, so any large amount of information, so usually we don't prefer to store it on list. So most of the information you will be getting, so any API call which you see or any information which is storing even on the client side application, so you will see a JSON format, something same as dictionary, both access in the same manner. So we'll be storing in this format, which is of key and value. So right now the key is name here, and value is this. And same way we'll try like this. Here you are getting 23. And in the same way you can find location as well. So this is how we can create a dictionary, and how is how we can access the information inside a dictionary. So maybe quickly take a note of it and try it from you guys. This also one more important thing which you need to do. So mostly the main data types you will be using in most of your programming languages. Uh, you can create a program without dictionary, but if you information which you are trying to do in your entire program and you are storing in a dictionary, you can do the entire program in an easier manner. You don't need to do much of an iteration over there. So it would be much easier for you guys to basically access information or store some information in dictionary. And so dictionaries, list, set, tuple are the most common things which you will be using. So these three are the main things you need to much focus on. So using sets you can solve much bigger problems in one line itself, the methods which it has, and list and dictionaries. So maybe you also try from your side that how exactly dictionaries, list, and sets all things work. So maybe we'll discuss little in detail. So right now, maybe if you want to take a note, please take a note of these part and try it out. Create a dictionary and add some information inside it. So I'm keeping the screen like this. So maybe I'll give 1 or 2 minutes, and you can. Question was to take set input from user and find symmetry difference. So can we use float values as keys? So if you want to use float values as keys, maybe you can declare it as right now. If you are declaring every information inside this one, but when you are trying to uh, access the same data over here, you will have in the same format that what how exactly you are trying to declare over there. So if you are declaring is a 2.3, whatever the data uh, which you are adding in the format variable which you created, so you have to access the variable in the same format itself. So maybe if you're trying to add something like this, you'll throw an error that there is no key which you are trying to find. So key error basically means that you are trying to find a key which is not available in the dictionary which we have created right now. Question was to take set input from user and find symmetric difference. Okay, I'll see that question part, how exactly it was defined and you guys were using it. So maybe in tomorrow's class, I will also have an idea that what kind of questions are we using it. So 2.3 equal to Hyderabad. There is no equal to on dictionaries. You cannot use equal to's, which is basically enums where you pass those kind of things, but there is no equal to like that. You need to use this if you want to assign some data. But every data which you are trying to assign, you have to the key basically, not the value. So every key which you are trying to declare, it should be as a string. Other languages which maybe in Java or other C or JavaScript and things, so they will allow you to declare all the keys in a non-string manner as well. But here you need to declare every variable which you are trying to do in string format itself. Yeah, so you cannot directly create it like that. So you have to do it in string manner. So maybe if you are comparing with other programs, they will allow you to create something like that. But here we have to declare everything on string. So, but when you are trying to do the same thing over here, it will search for name variable. So even if you see here, name is not defined because it's trying to fetch the value inside the name. So maybe if you declare a variable, something like so here won't throw an error because here the key will be namer, not name. So if I run this program right now, which is above, it will throw an error that there is no name which you are trying to find. So it should be namer here because it's trying to fetch the information from the variable. Variable has namer, and it will replace this variable name with the value which is there inside that variable. So it would be namer. So it will initialize in that way. So we are having two here, which is 2.3. So Rahul 23 Hyderabad. And this is how you access all the information. So initialize it from your side also and try it out quickly. That how do we declare it and how do we access that information, and we will move little forward and add some more information to it, or how do we access only keys or values and things like that. If you have any questions, write it on the chat. I'm just showing my code for a minute, so quickly copy and try it out from your side as well. I guess there are no questions. So please also try it out from your side, and we'll declare some more information. So in the same way, here we are trying to add only strings. So in the same way, you can add any other information as well. So maybe I'll and maybe if I'm adding marks. 10, 20, 30, 40 is all the marks which Rahul got. So we can also print those information. And 20, 30, 40 which we got. And the same way if you want to print it. So here we got 0th index, which is it will go inside the dictionary one, it will find out marks key. So it found out marks key over here, and in the same way it will go and find out 0th index from there. 0th index, which is this. So this is how it will show. So even one more flexibility on Python which you can do is when you are trying to print, trying to find a 0th index of a string. So string, every time you access 0th index, it will basically split and store all the information in the index manner itself. So every value which you are trying to get, HYD, and it will try to get that first index value. First index value basically is H. So here you can see that we got only H. So every information which you wanted to try only first letter, second letter, and third letter, and you can use in this manner that using indexes how we used for list. So this is how maybe you can also access information. So here we can see that marks are 10, 20, 30, 40. We are able to access is that good. And one more detailed information which we want to provide is that we don't know which subject that particular person got 10 marks. So which subject 20, which subject 30. So in maybe solving those kind of information, you can create one more dictionary inside dictionary. So right now I have marks. I'll create one more dictionary stating so English, and I'll add 20 for English. So 20 for Python, and in the same way the instead of that I'll use separators. So this much little detailed. So if you want to find uh, Python marks directly, we can find based on Python. So how exactly we can get only one index value. So here we are not declaring as a list. So which is little clear that which subject got how many marks and things. But when you are trying to print in that way, it will throw an error because we are trying to find a 0th index. So there are no indexes format. This is there in dictionaries. So you have to mention the key which you are trying to find. So here we are trying to find 0, which is not a key. There is no key on the name of 0 at all. So for that, if you want to use operating systems maybe. So here when we are trying to print operating systems, it got 40 as an output. So here operating system is 40. So what will happen behind is it will go, it will find dict1 variable, and inside that it will go and find marks. So right now there is marks. If there is no marks, it will throw an error. So it will go find marks and it will go find operating systems inside it, which we are trying to find. So as soon as it find operating system, it will return 40, which is the value which we have right now. So this is how you can declare any information. So this is the format which you see at multiple places, not just over here. Every time, so if you want to declare that one student information, so you will have one structured dictionary format. So this will be your dictionary format. Every time you want to create a student, or maybe if there is a new student which is coming to you the university, and you need to store those information. You won't directly create one list over there and put this and or maybe Rahul and 25 and things like that, because we don't know what 25 is. We don't know what 13 is. We need to add some data. So there will be some defined structure of dictionary. if in terms of Python. So that particular dictionary will be like this. So name of something. So initially it would be none, and in the same way, roll number none. So all the information which is required for student to get on board. So maybe his past school, or maybe your which college he studied in, or which how many marks he got, and every information. And in the same way, this will work everywhere at every point of your thing which you do in your daily life, or maybe even at your college, even maybe at your library if you are trying to uh, take any book. So they'll be adding an information that this person took this much. Maybe so if the entire library management is in, it will be in dictionaries itself, or objects JSON. So they will assign some data. So let's suppose if you are there will be a unique ID for everybody, right? University ID. So let's suppose my university ID is 123. So they'll assign 123 some data, and they won't directly put those information inside it, because 123 has not only library data. Then we need to store any other information also. So here I'm storing library data. So here I took some book. So here I created one list over here, all the books which you are trying to take. So every book I take, I'll create a dictionary inside it. So here maybe we'll store date also. But today's date is 21/02/2022, and book name, maybe Python programming. So this is how your structure will be when there is any information which is storing, maybe in your college as well. Every information. So it might not be directly like this. Maybe instead of this, everybody will have an ID inside your library. So they'll store library ID, some maybe like this, and many other information that whether verified student or not, which is from library. And so verified can be Boolean, because verified will have only two, whether verified or not. And here I added all the books information. So this can be one of an example which how exactly your details will look in one of your database, or maybe how exactly we are trying to store it. So you are trying to store in one database, but when you are trying to use your information in your application portals, so all the data which is stored in database will be converted into something like this, which will be little easier to access the information. So this one example, how exactly we store information, and use case of where do we use dictionaries. So we use dictionaries everywhere. There is any data which we need to store under some key. So we use key value format which is there in dictionary. And if there is any data which is duplicate, not the duplicate. So here books is the key. So key defines what exactly the information which is there inside. So inside library, books, all the books which I had taken, which is the user 123. So it would be like this. So this is how you can access information. I think we got few of questions. So what do you use instead of equal to while assigning? So this is how the format will be in assigning some value. Syntax basically when it comes to dictionaries that you need to do it. So there are few more things called enums. So where enums will be in that format, that a equal to 20 and equal to 30 and things. So all the dictionaries format will be on columns only. So all the columns which you have. So you need to define in this way. So every data type also which we discussed before, that list will have like this and tuple and sets like this. So every data which we use has some particular format that dictionaries will follow in this, that you need to give column and add some data. So can we redefine same dictionary within it? So when you are trying to redefine it, it will allow you to write it because it doesn't know what you're trying to write right now. But when you're trying to execute it, so I'll show from the example instead of from here. Let's suppose here I'm adding location, and maybe if I'm adding location as Bangalore, so here we added one key of which is location Hyderabad, and we added one more key which is of location Bangalore. But when you are trying to find it, we'll remove this one. When you are trying to find the location key, it will start from over here, from the first key which we declared. It will go and search for uh, location which we are trying to find. So location is not there over here. It will try to find over here as well, not there. It will find location which is Hyderabad, and it won't return as soon as it find it. It will search the other parameters which is there inside the dictionary as well. And if there is one more dictionary which you created and which are basically reassigning some data. So here I reassign to the same key. It won't consider this one at all, even at any case, because every time you try to print something, it will go through the entire dictionary. It won't directly, as soon as it finds it, it won't stop it and give you HYD. It will go to each and every keys and it will find, and in the end, every value will be stored at some place in the same way that every location. So dictionary will have. So let's suppose dictionary, the entire dictionary is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 location. So all the values which is there inside name. So name will be in one location, which is stored on under name key. So that Rahul will be at one location, 1, 2, 3, and the same way roll number. In the same way location also. But when you are trying to assign the same location again, it won't create one more location. It will go to the same location and update it. So that's why when you're trying to uh, find location, we get the latest one, which we declare later. So it won't throw any error that we are declaring one more key. It will basically overwrite it when you're trying to access it. There is no rule that all the keys should be unique. So even if there are duplicate keys, so the basic idea behind dictionary is that you need to have unique keys, but it won't throw any error that if there are any duplicate keys, because even if you try to declare some key later on after redeclaring basically, it will override that information. But if you want your data to be clean and perfect, so we usually have every data to be declared once only. So if you want to update it, you update it over here, but it won't throw an error that you are trying to redeclare a variable. So that's how it would be. So there is no need that you need to follow indentation. So because I follow the indentation at everywhere in the Python, so I use indentation properly. So you don't need to follow it. So here I didn't follow somewhere, I think. Okay, I followed everywhere, but it's not necessary that you need to follow indentation. So right now it's looking good. So here I can see that name, roll number, location, and marks, and inside marks I have this information. But if I'm trying to do the same, something like this, you won't understand. So what information is there in server? So that's why every program I write in Python, so I use indentation everywhere. You don't need to follow indentation inside a dictionary. but elsewhere you need to find. I think we didn't get any situation where we need to use indentation at all, because we didn't move to any looping or any if condition and things. So that's how you access or store any information. So dictionary is one of the main thing which you will be using at multiple of your programming. If you really know the concept behind this the entire dictionary and how exactly information is stored or how can you access those information and things, so it would be little easier for you guys to write a program in lesser complexities or in fewer lines. So please also try from your side that how can we create dictionaries and how do we store it. And this one example which I gave, so here you can see, so maybe we'll try to iterate this one. We'll try to use this one. Here I didn't follow indentation because I don't do it in this way. Here I started this particular list and I'll be ending here. So usually indentation will work in that way, but here you don't need to pass any indentation over here. But even indentation doesn't allow you to split like this. So this is the format for the entire dictionary. So even every time, maybe if you're using any IDE, right? So you can install extensions. Maybe if you're using VS Code, you can go to extensions and find Python over here. Maybe here I install Python. So in the same way, if you install Python also from your side, it will give you this flexibility that every time you try to write something. So here I create a dictionary and I press enter. So it directly went here, not to the start of it, because it know that I have to give some indentation in Python, but it's also useful or it's little clear to give indentation on dictionaries as well, because here you can see that it's very clear that how exactly the data is passing, that is going from 1 to 3, which is my university ID, and inside that I'm storing library information. So in the same way, library you can store your semester marks also. You cannot, it's not good practice to directly give direct semesters. Maybe we can give marks or maybe academic marks or something. So inside this you can have one more dictionary, maybe semester 1. Inside semester 1 have one more internals will have one more dictionary if you want, and in the same way externals, and inside internals we have multiple subjects. And every time you declare one key, and if you are going to second one, you need to have comma, which will define that you are trying to create a new key. So if you're not putting comma, same like how we did here, every key which you create, at the end you need comma. Maybe if you're at the end, you don't need to declare. So right now I'm at the end, I don't need to declare anything. So even if I declare comma over here, it won't throw an error. So according to the data variable which I created, so here you can see that we are trying to store marks of this particular user 1 2 3. So maybe instead of uh, so so this have university ID. Let's suppose maybe not just 1 2 3, maybe 4 5 6. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 is my university ID. So who has this university ID? So if you want to try find out, you can directly find name. So based on that name, you will get Rahul. So if you want any library records, what's your library ID? Is it, are you verified or not? What all information or what all books you took? So this is how it would be. And if you want to see marks, that Inside marks we have semesters. Every semester information we can store. So inside semesters we have internals and externals. So inside internals we have every subject. So based upon your requirement, you can create multiple dictionaries inside it, and maybe you can add arrays, and inside arrays you can create one more dictionary like this. So you can create in a manner that how exactly your information should be, and much easier to directly find it. So if you want to create all this information in one, instead of dictionary, if you want to create a list, it would be you need to create multiple variables and you need to map it. So there is no way to map maybe maybe Rahul and Sanjay. And so if you are having like this, and we have one more variable, roll numbers. So here we know that Rahul is 12, Sanjay is 34 and things. So if you want to do in the same way, you need to go with the same index value, that Li of 0 is Rahul and Ro of 0 is 12. So you need to create in this way. But if you are having a dictionary, you can have all the information something like this, so that every new user who is coming up will create the same data like this. So you'll know the actual use case of this when we come to clear, maybe when we declare or when we are trying to learn classes and methods and maybe object oriented programming. So then I'll take some use case something like this, maybe library management, or maybe or any other resource like that, and we'll try to generate the entire workflow of it, how exactly these things will happen, how do you take information and store information, and the entire design pattern of it. So we need to design that, how the data flow should happen. So here, from here we will be storing libraries, and below that we'll be having marks and things. So we won't store all information at one place itself. So instead of that, we can split everything into variables. So library information will go to one variable, and marks will go to one variable. So maybe you can redefine it that way. So it's completely based upon your requirements. So this is how you declare it, any bigger data. So we'll try to print. So I want 1 2 3 4 5 6 is a university ID. So maybe instead of me writing it, so I want you guys to try from your side also that uh, write a program to get Python marks of university ID 1 2 3 4 5 6. I want Python marks of 1 2 3 4 5 6 university ID in one semester internals. So try this from your side. So I'll give maybe a couple of minutes, and if you are able to find, so basically you need to get. I'll create one more. Is semester 2. 30 over here. So I want second semester internal marks of Python. So basically you need to find marks of this particular. So right now I have only one. So try to find 1 2 3 4 5 6 users Python marks in second semester internals. So it's just one line one which you need to do, same like how we did over here. So if you want to iterate in between, is the same way, that dictionary marks of operating system. So here dictionary of marks, and inside marks we have operating system, and it will return value. So based upon the key which you are trying to find, it will return value. You can do something like this. Maybe I'll add this example also. which we did for the first one. So this is how the entire dictionary will be, and this is the program which you can try right now. And if someone solves it, maybe add it on the chart. So I'll also have idea that you are able to understand the thing, that how exactly dictionary works. And this is something which is important, which you need to understand dictionary. So uh, I'm putting the screen. So maybe I'll give some 3-4 minutes or something. So try to write it. It's just very small one. Right now you're trying to access. There will be much bigger dictionaries. Like you don't even need to imagine that how big data will be inside dictionary when you're trying to use it. But when you get some hands-on experience when you're trying to do on Python, but for that you need to understand how exactly this dictionaries and information flow will works. How do you access any information which is inside that completely? So write a program to find the Python marks. I just need Python marks in the semester 2 internals of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 user. So if you have any questions, I it on the chart. I'll give 5 minutes. So just see this dictionary and try to print it. Try to. I think you will be getting internals which is 30. So you need to get an output of 30. So if you are getting 30, then that's pretty much good. I think you understood the concept of dictionaries and how do you access it. So please try to do it. And after 5 minutes, I'll explain how can we do it. I think Sanjay gave you the answer, but maybe you also try it from your side. I'll directly explain. output over share. So dict2 is the variable which we created, and here we are trying to access marks. Maybe if you want some time, let me know, or else I'll explain. I'll start explaining it. I want more people to give the answers, not just the one which Sanjay gave. So maybe if you want to try or do it, yeah, I got it. That's completely fine. So if you want to give any different answer, or if you don't understand the concept of dictionary, please let me know, because this is very important concept which you will be using at multiple situation. So every input you might be getting in future, it can be a dictionary. So all the information which you need to access, it can be a dictionary. So please make sure that you understand and do things when it comes to dictionaries. Or so let me know on the chat that if anybody has any issue with understanding dictionaries, please add it on the chat. We'll also discuss once again, if required, the entire workflow of dictionaries, because this is something important which you need to remember or which you need to understand. There's nothing to by heart or remember. So maybe all the methods which are there in uh, list or sets which we used in a couple of classes back, you need to remember those things. But dictionary, you don't need to remember anything over here, or you don't need to by heart or keep memorizing it. It's just data which you store it in some particular format and access it. This is something which is simple. Uh, which you need to understand how exactly we store information inside dictionary. So if anybody has any question regarding dictionaries, that how do we store it or how do we use it, let me know on the chat. So it would be easier for me to also understand that we are all on the same page. Okay, so I think nobody has an issue. So I'll also quick give over overview of this dictionary which I created, and I also discuss the solution for it. So if you see over here, here we try to declare a variable of dict2 which has the information of students, every student in one university. So every student will have a unique ID. Maybe it could be university ID or whatever ID it is. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the university ID which I created. So here inside you will have all the information. I just gave only name, library, and marks. So here you can have uh, other information also. Instead of directly using it something like this, you can also put it in some other variable, like how we add library. You can have uh, personal information, something like this. So inside personal information, we'll have the 23. So instead of personal information, maybe it would be here if you use something like user information. So user information, or maybe student information. Inside student information, we have all name, roll numbers, address, and everything. And inside library, we have all library information, that what's your library ID, if you have, maybe if you have any verified or something, and what all books which you have taken till now, every data. So we can add one more data over here, that whether book was returned or not. So this book return rate, so if is 20 and I return rate 21, so we can store something information like that. So in the same way, we are trying to store marks. Marks we define, every marks will have semester wise. So semester 1, 2, 3, and inside your semester you will be having internals and externals. So We'll have Python marks for internals and externals both ways. So we can store something like this. So right now we are trying to find Python marks in your internals of first semester for this particular user ID 123456. So to find that out, here of two, and so maybe the one which Sanjay wrote, it has an issue with it. So the one which we see below, all the answers which you can see, it has the correct one. So here we are trying to find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you need to access 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 before going to marks, because if you directly find marks, there won't be marks at all. You need to find based on the ID. So I think you are missing ID over here. So we'll try to print. So these are all the information which is there under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 university ID. So inside that, I just want only marks. I don't want any student information, library, something. So if I want marks, again I'll create marks, and here I can access marks of that particular. So here I can see all the semester 1, semester 2 information. So inside that I want only semester 2 information. I don't want semester 1. So here I'm getting only semester 2 information. If you see here, we have internals and externals. So inside internals, externals, I want only internals. So here we can get all the internals information. Right now we have only Python. Here there will be multiple subjects. So I want Python marks of this user is 30. So this is how you access the entire information like this. I hope it maybe if you have any questions or doubts regarding dictionaries, how do we use it? So I hope everybody has some little clarity on it. How can we use and things. So this is how we declare, use, and iterate the entire dictionaries and access information. If you have any other questions, please let me know. If you want to take a note of this one, please take a note of it, because I'm just giving you one example right now. It's your responsibility to try with other examples which you can find it on internet and try to parse it and find information, the output which you need to find. So make sure that you understand dictionaries, and you also try dictionaries from your side, that how can we store information, access it, little go inside it and things. If you have any questions, please let me know on the chat, or if you have any questions on the question which I gave and understanding of it, let me know. I can also re-explain or discuss something. So what if there are 100 next dictionaries? You can have n number of dictionaries and store information. So you need to uh, iterate it accordingly how exactly you want. Indexing approach will be not the better one. Yeah, so that's the reason why we use dictionaries. So when you have lots of information, so indexing is better when you're having some small information, and even for big information you can store it, but the example, the use case which you are trying to solve here, it will make it complex when you're using a list, doing in index manner, because it will be little tough to store all information, because here I'm storing student names in one list and roll numbers in one list. and it's little complex to understand and store information. You are taking lots of space also over here. So it will be a little easier to declare, store some bulk information. You can use dictionaries. So as you might have seen that one example I can give you how where exactly we use. So everywhere you use, or maybe if you're trying to open any application, Google application or something, every response which you are trying to get from the backend side, it would be in the same format of the JSON or dictionary, whatever it is. So you are trying to find dictionaries of 100 times. Okay. This is how to access 100 dictionary elements, sir. So it depends upon your, so I'm not telling you that you have to use dictionaries only at every situation. So it depends upon your data set, how do you use it. There won't be a situation where you create hundreds of dictionaries in one dictionaries, because we'll be splitting into multiple variables and store information it accordingly. But if you want to try to find information of 100 level, 100 nested of in dictionaries, you have to do it in this way, based upon information which you're trying to find. You have to do it in this way only. It's not much of a difficult way to do it, to find something like this. But if you are doing in an index manner, it's also difficult to understand that what information is this. So we are having some information inside list, we don't know what that is. Maybe based upon variable name we can understand it, but you don't know. If you want to store multiple information, it will be little difficult. Means the dictionary of 100 times. Yeah. So if you want to access it, it will be in that manner. Yes. If you want to go inside of a dictionary, so it would be, yes, it would be lengthy. So as I said, there won't be a situation where you'll be creating hundreds of dictionaries, hundreds of nested dictionaries. You need to split all those things into something little easier. uh, everything, every sections into one variables and store it in that manner. So it would be much easier for you to do it. So there will be a situation where you will be having lots of dictionaries in one variable itself. That's like pretty much redundant. So in the same way, when you're trying to access it, it will be something like this. But dictionaries has this use case that you can access some information based upon the key. So maybe when we try to solve some smaller examples after uh, when we go through iterations and looping. So then I'll explain the use case that in this situation, if you use dictionaries, it would be easier instead of list. But the programs which you are trying to find over here, every program which you are trying to do, it would be easier to use dictionaries for you for the data set which you are trying to use. So alternatively, isn't there any way to access it? Access the 100th nested dictionary, you mean? Uh, you cannot directly jump into that particular data which is there inside it. There is no way, because if you directly jump to some other point, you don't know. So here you see, if you directly jump to semester 2, you don't know semester 2 of what. So right now you are going through marks, you don't know which user it is. So you cannot directly jump into that particular index and find it. There is no such way. So you have to uh, let the program know that whose semester 2 you want. So what semester 2? So semester 2 basically is marks. So marks of which student? Student of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you need to give such information that how exactly you can access those data. So you cannot directly jump into that particular part of it. So dictionary is better than database. So every information you store, it will be in database only. Maybe if you are trying to find it, but that information which is there inside the database, you will be creating a dictionary to serve it to the client side. So I'll give you an example. You might be using Facebook, so Facebook or Instagram. So every time you use Instagram, you're trying to refresh, you'll be getting one post. So one post, I'll give you the overview of how exactly that responds the data from the backend side to the front end side. So front end basically means that application, mobile application or website which you're trying to use. So how exactly the information will come from backend to front end. Backend basically means the Python which you use, things like that. So it will be, so let's suppose we have Instagram. I'm directly going and pointing out to the news feeds. So I'm not defining it any other manner. So here, maybe your user ID. So everybody will have a user ID. Instead of user ID, they will also have some Instagram ID. So something like this. So for this particular one, they also have user information, and inside that we will have all the names. And here we'll have news feeds. So we are not storing all the information inside of database, because every database you need to store it on, every information you need to store it on database. So all the information which I store over there, I need to pass it from here. So we'll be getting a response something like this. So all the news feeds of that user is, we need URL. So maybe for images we have of image URL, we'll have it as URL itself. They'll have type, what type of that news feed is, whether it's image or video. So I'm having image. So for image, we'll have some URL. So some URL will give you that particular post, the image which you're seeing or the video which you're trying to do. So you will have some URL to that video or image which you're seeing. And you also need description of something. And you also need likes, some 23, comments 34, and for videos we have views also maybe 450, like that. So you will be getting information something like this. So there is some issue where we didn't close something. What mistake am I doing? Maybe someone let me know. I'm missing bracket somewhere. Where is it? Okay, so I was not having any This also shouldn't give an error, but we were trying to do something which is not good. Where is it? This is how we basically get the output, get the response from the backend side that we are trying to use. We are trying to show this information. So this is how you get it. So every index inside newsfeed will be one of your post. So you will get data from database, something like this. You won't store all the information in database because store all the data in your dictionary because you don't know where to put the dictionary. So there is no place where you actually have all this information inside storing a dictionary and you can use it at multiple places. So maybe you will understand all these things that why do we use database and why not variables. Maybe later on that how the entire flow of a backend code works. So maybe you'll understand at that time. So right now there's not a way that you can directly store it in database and do it. But database will help us to transfer data from server to here. So all the database information will be something like this. And every time you open, it will fetch this information in dictionary format itself. And it will try to show it in the same way that every index value will be one of your post and all the information will there inside it. So it would be something like this how your Instagram or every website you should try to use it, it would be on the same format. Comma 66. Okay, this one. Thank you. So this how uh, something we miss. So here I miss comma. I couldn't find it all. So this how we have the information that views, likes, and everything you will get. One index will be one of your post. So this is how we store information and pass it to the UI side on your mobile application which you are trying to use. So as I have good experience on doing all these logics behind on the backend side and creating websites and mobile application, I'm aware of that how exactly the data will flow. So how the data will come from database and we create it as a dictionaries and things, and how do we retrieve it from the front end, which is the websites and the mobile application which you see, and try to uh, show it, show those information. So I have like little, not little, so some good experience on creating the entire uh, websites or how do we pass data from there and share. So I'm just giving you one real time example that where do we use dictionaries. So this is how we store some data and pass it to the UI side, and so it would be much easier also for you to access this information. So as maybe Sanjay also said that if there are hundreds of dictionaries, that how do we access it? But if you have that much of data, how can you store those things in list? Even if you store it, you need to have some standard structurized format that you don't know uh, what index has what information and things like that. So you need to split those 100 nested dictionaries which you are trying to find it. Maybe every part of dictionary will go to some variable and try to create it and use it. So maybe I'll explain you all these things in detail that how can we split those information and do it when we try to discuss about object programming. So right now this is how we declare dictionaries, and quickly we need to remember two methods on dictionaries, that how do we access keys, or how do we access values. I just want only keys from here. So here you can see this one, this one. So this is one more ID. I don't want any other information. I just want the Instagram IDs. I just want Instagram IDs, what all present inside the dictionary. Maybe we are trying to see that who all are there over here. So if you want to do something like this, yeah. So if you are trying to find key, so remember that every value which you are trying to put on the left side of it, it would be key. So you will find all the information based upon keys only. So based on keys, you will get the values. But if you want to get the uh, keys based on values, then it would be little different format. I'll also explain that also. That here, if you want to try finding keys of dictionaries, it would be in this manner. We will also parallelly find values of it. So here you can see these are the keys which are there inside it. So 537462123456. So here I can see that these two are the Instagram IDs which is there inside dictionary. So here we got dictionary keys, and in the same way we can have values also. So values will be like this. So this will go to one list, the entire value, and second one will go to one more list. So I'm binding it and I'm finding 0th index. I'm finding first index. And values for now. Here you can see 0th index is this, first index is this. So this is how you get keys of information, that these are all the keys are there. So all the keys will be in a list format over here. Here you can see that you have inside a list that what are the keys which you are trying to use, and in the same way values as well. So this can be a little useful on a situation where you are trying to find what all keys are there. So I'll also give use case, not maybe now, maybe if you want use case of this one. Okay, so when you are trying to when you open Instagram, right? So you'll be having stories, that all the stories on the above, that who all posted some stories, and you can find it there. You can see only uh, Instagram IDs of those users. So even there also you are showing images, but maybe I'm giving some similar example that. So there I want to show only IDs. I just want to show only that Instagram handle. So let's suppose I have a response of that. I have a response of that something. So even in this situation we'll be storing, but basically if you want to have only keys, you can use keys method, which will return you all the keys which are present in the dictionaries. If you want to print values, directly values, maybe it's little bigger example. So here you can see, if you want to so dictionary one of keys. So here you can see we got all the keys which are there. So here the keys are name, roll number, location, and marks. So here we got all the keys, and here we got all the values. Values are Rahul 23 Hyderabad and dictionary. The entire dictionary is also one value. Here you can see Rahul 23 Hyderabad and this dictionary. So from here, maybe I'll create. So here we have values also. And maybe if you want to find and here I'm seeing this is of 0, and here I'll do values of 0. Here you can see name is Rahul. So every information will be stored in the same indexes. So name will go to 0th index, and when Rahul will go to the 0th index itself. So it will be directly matching on the same index when you are trying to find the keys and values of it. So this how maybe you can try to find these particular keys or these particular values. If you want to find, maybe it will be helpful that if you want to check whether uh, right now you have marks. So instead of marks, if you want to trying to search for section, which section this particular user student is. So right now we don't have any student at all, section at all in this particular dictionary. So in those situations, you can see that what all keys are there initially. If section is there inside that particular set of keys or not. If it's not there, then we can return. If it's there, then we can use it based on that. So this how these are the main two things which you need to remember in keys and values. So that's most of the thing which the usage of entire dictionary, and how do we find values and keys of it. So if you have any questions, please let me know on the chat. I think we just have only 15 minutes. So we'll have any discussion if you wanted to have in dictionaries which we discussed entire total way. So if you have any questions, add it on the chat. Before we wrap up, we just have only 15 minutes. I think if you might have few questions on dictionaries, how do we create it or use it. Please try it out from your side, create a dictionary, sample ones, and try to use it. And you just need to remember only these two uh, dictionary, what are the dictionary of keys, dictionaries of values. So it would be a little easier for you to remember also. So if you have any questions, please let me know on the chat. I just want you guys to understand dictionaries and use it, because later on I'll also create dictionaries at multiple situation and use it instead of storing some different information in list or any other things. I didn't see Uday any question after we discussed regarding test. If you have any questions, please ask me, or if you don't understand the usage of dictionary, please let me know. Please also try from your side every day after we are done with our class. You also please try it from your side. Can we have list of keys inside a dictionary? As in, I didn't get you what you are trying to do. So you can have a list. You can have a list and create some data which you wanted to put. Maybe create that particular dictionary which you are trying to say me. Add it on the chat, so it's a little easier for me. Creating.
మనం ఏం మాట్లాడలేదు టార్గెట్ ఇచ్చారు అన్నప్పుడు
Yes. So you wanted to give something like this. Some of uh, maybe as an example of name of key of name and last name. So when you are doing in this situation, so all the information which you are seeing over there, that Rahul will be usually assigned into some keys which you are trying to declare, that name and last name which you are trying to declare. So Rahul will be assigned into that particular keys. But when you are dealing with Python, right, so Python won't basically act as JSONs which you are trying to refer. So maybe I think you are trying to refer it from Java or C. Maybe there is any use case that we can declare multiple same value to multiple keys. So there are few limitations that Python follow, that you cannot, you don't have this kind of shorter formats to declare some values to multiple keys at once, something like that. There are few flexibilities on other programming languages. So maybe on when you see it on JavaScript or something, or I think C also has it. I don't remember. So we can declare it like this directly. You don't need to give it as a string, because this will try to find if there is any variable. If there is no variable, it will try to create it as a string. So we don't have such kind of flexibilities on Python, because they have few strict syntax methods which you need to follow to do these kind of things. And if you have any other questions on declaring dictionary or accessing data inside it, please let me know. We can discuss before we wrap up. I'll have talk with your team and get the question paper and see how exactly that pattern was there, and then I'll discuss with them. So please make sure you understand dictionaries and how do we use it. So this is one of the important thing which we use in most of the situation to make our programs a little easier. Maybe let me recall one better usage of dictionary instead of storing it in the list. So maybe I'll explain some some little use case which you also can implement in any other language which you wanted to do. So let's suppose I have 1, 3, 5, 4, 2, 4, 1, 6, 7. So this is how my list is. I want to print the count of all the variables. So let's suppose 1. So 1 count is 2 times. And 2 count is, I think, 2. So I need to write a program something like this. So right now I'm not explaining the program because we need to iterate it and do it. As I didn't teach you guys how do we iterate it. So I'm just giving you one use case that here I have to store what's the count of this one, 1 of 2, 2 of 2 and things. So in this situation, You can do in two methods. So maybe this is one list which you have, and maybe you can have one more variable for counting counts or something, and here maybe based on some key matching and things, so you can add counting of all. So maybe 2 2 3 based upon something, so we have to do some condition matching over here. So instead of that, you can use dictionaries here, which will make little easier. So here I am declaring counts, and I want to find count of 1. So 1 initially will be 0. So maybe the first when you are trying to declare, it will be 1. So here 2 also will be 1. So when you find 1 again, that so here we have 1 again. So we'll increase the count of 1 to 2 directly. So here we'll have clear idea that count of 2 which you are mentioning here of which number. So 2 is the number. So count of 2, here we mentioned 1. So 1 is the number. So in situation like this, when you want to have data, that you need to match with the key, that what this information is belongs to whom. So this 2 count which we are seeing over here belongs to 2 of data from this list. So this will be little easier to do in dictionaries than creating any list and doing some matching based on some conditions and things. We can store it as dictionary of value of count. Yeah, so that's what I was explaining. That so whatever the value which we are seeing over here, 2 is the value, and count will be that whatever the count which you are trying to find. So dictionary will be much helpful in this situation. But if you are trying to do the same thing using list, your program will increase. The number of lines which you are trying to write and the condition which you are trying to write, maybe it will increase in that manner. So it would be a little easier to do it in list. So dictionaries, the main use case of this is that when you are trying to store some information, you need to map it with something, that this information belongs to something. So dictionary will help us to understand that this information to this one leads to this. So that's one of the example which I can say right now. Maybe later on, when we are trying to solve some other problems, we'll have like some little more understanding that where do we use dictionaries and things. Yeah, so right now here we store, and as Sanjay said, we can directly print it. So counts of whatever. So I need count of 2. So counts of 2 will give how many times that this particular value which you are trying to find is present. So maybe right now we need to write a program to loop it, but this how easier way directly you can print it, all the data which is there inside it, and count it based upon the value which is there in the above list. So this is one of the use case where we can use dictionary over using list. So there can be many situations where it will be little simpler to use list than dictionary. So it's up to you. You need to declare it based upon the requirement. So that's on the dictionaries overall today. So if you have any questions, please add it on the chat so we can discuss. Maybe if you don't remember right now, make a note of it, all the information, and we can discuss this tomorrow. And please make sure that you also try from your side how dictionaries works maybe after this call. So it would be easier for you to understand and things. I hope there are no questions. I think today Sanjay asked more question than anybody. Uh, Usually Uday used to ask someone. Maybe if you don't understand at all, also please let me know so we can discuss it once again, because this is also one useful thing which you will be using at multiple places. The usage of dictionaries at everywhere. So please make sure that you understand dictionaries. So after class, you can try it from your side. I think we just have only 3 more minutes. So before we wrap up, if you have any questions, add it on the chat. We can discuss it. If you want to count of what? Well, I think we didn't discuss count, right? Okay, this one. So this just sample example which I discussed. I didn't write any program over here, but maybe if you want, I'll explain one more time that. So if you in any of your programming questions, so you might get a situation where you need to print the count of maybe one particular variable. So uh, maybe you need to find the count of two. How many times that two specially is there in this particular dictionary, the particular list, or there might be a situation where you need to find the count of every variable, every value inside this list. That how many times one is repeated, 2, 4, 5, and things. So in those situations, the dictionaries will help you to understand. So every time you initially your dictionary will be empty, let's suppose, and you try to find one. So as soon as you find one, you'll create a variable, a key which inside the counts. So here I'm creating a key called one, and I'm increasing the count. So initially I declare is with one because right now there is no one which is there before. So this is the first time which we are seeing it. So we'll see that we got one as a count of one, and we'll go to second index. Again, we'll find two, and we'll add two over here, which is of count one. So because we have only we read basically two only once. And the same way we go further, and here we have five, five of one. And next time we go to, I think we missed four. Next time it go to two. So instead of creating a new variable of two, we'll increase the count of this one. So if you want to increase the count of it, so here you can see count of two. So if you wanted to do in a simpler manner, increase the count of count plus one. So this particular line will increase the count from 1 to 2. So in the same way, you can search for every value which is there inside, and if it's there, you can print it. If it's not, it will create and put one as a value. So at the end, you'll have data of all the information, whether it's repeated twice or not. So here, one repeated two times, two repeated two times, four repeated two times. I think 6, 7, 5 just repeated only one. So here we have all the information right now. So which is little easier for us to uh, find out the count of it. So this is one of the example where we use dictionaries, and which will help to solve this problem in an easier manner. So I'll explain this problem little more clearly when we are discussing loops, how do we loop it and things. So maybe I think tomorrow if possible, we'll start on looping. So or maybe we have few more things which we need to cover. So I'll try to wrap up faster tomorrow, and then we can discuss looping also. So once we can loop it, we can find a solution of some program like this. So that's the main usage of dictionaries. So I think we passed now. So if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. I think we are over by 2 minutes. So I'm ending the session today. If you have any questions, please take a note of it and we can discuss tomorrow. Before we start the class, you can ask me all the things which you wanted to ask. I think that's all for today. So thank you everyone for joining. So let's meet tomorrow and we will discuss much more on it.